Hi folks, welcome back to Math with Captain Rod. I make this video here to help you learn how to apply two very important rules of differentiation in calculus called the product rule and the quotient rule. And I'm just going to go over the rules quick and then go through some examples. So first one right here, this is the product rule. Imagine we have a function f of x that's the product of two other functions that I've called a and b, both of which are functions of x. Then the derivative of f is found by taking the derivative of the first times the second plus the derivative of the second times the first, as I've kind of written out right here. And I'm going to go through and go through some examples of that right now. Then we'll talk about the quotient rule. So here's an example, f of x equals 2x plus 1 times x to the third. So when we differentiate this, applying the product rule, you take the derivative of the first function, which is 2, times the second, plus the derivative of the second function, which is 3x squared, times the first, 2x plus 1. Now, this can be, multiplied and added and simplified and stuff, but that's done. This is differentiated right here, and I'm just going to leave it at that. All right, here's another example of the product rule with a trig function here. F of x equals sine x times x to the fourth. So f prime of x is going to be, the derivative of the first function, and the derivative of the sine is cosine x, times the next function, x to the fourth, plus the derivative of the next one, which would be 4x to the third times the first function, sine x. And this is differentiated and complete. All right, let me kind of move this stuff over here a little bit and give myself a little more room for these others here. All right, so now we're going to work on these. So now the quotient rule, and I summarize the quotient rule up top here. So when you have a function that's the ratio of two functions, or the quotient a over b, both functions of x, then the derivative of f is the derivative of the top function times the bottom minus the derivative of the bottom function times the top over the bottom squared. All right, let's go. Let's take a look at some of these examples here. So if our function is 2x plus 1 over x to the third, then the derivative of this function is, derivative of the top is 2 times the bottom minus the derivative of the bottom is 3x squared times the top all over the bottom function squared. That would be x to the third squared. If you don't mind, I'm just going to put x to the sixth. Now, this can be distributed and cleaned up a little bit, but it is differentiated. I'm just going to leave it at that. Next example, if our function is sine x over x to the fourth, then the derivative of that function is, the derivative of the top is cosine x times the bottom minus the derivative of the bottom is 4x to the third times the top over the bottom squared. Now if we take x to the fourth and that's squared, that's going to be x to the eighth. So these are some relatively elementary examples of applying the product and quotient rule. After you do a few hundred of these, you'll get pretty good at it, and I think you'll find these to be a piece of cake. So I hope that this video has helped you learn how to apply these rules of differentiation. Have a great day.